appease is the fact that state nature preserves could be drilled as long as the drilling occurs under the surface. Now it's very interesting because state law actually provides that nature preserves are completely off limits to leasing. So we see that as a potential problem that we will certainly be pushing back on. But I'd just like to wrap up by reminding people to please go to our website, protectohiosparks.org. You can find a lot of information there, and certainly as the nomination process ramps up, we'll be keeping people informed and letting them know where to submit comments. That's it for me. I'm happy to answer questions afterwards. Up next is Jack Shaner, the Deputy Director of the Ohio Environmental Council.
Thank you, Dave. So we've heard a lot of promises over the years. We've heard that nuclear power will be too cheap to meter. We heard there's such a thing as clean coal, and now we're hearing that drilling can be good for our state parks. Imagine that the drilling rigs and all the other things can be good for hiking, biking, canoeing, fishing. Incredible. So we're embarking on a terrible experiment here in Ohio to see whether if we enrich a few, it will come at the expense or benefit of the many people. And we are so distraught the fact that the big promise breaker occurred. We were always promised that our state parks would always be a preserve for people and for nature, and that promise has been broken. So, two messages here today. One is, we believe Ohioans are in for a big surprise. When Ohioans go out to get away from it all, they're going to be encountering, as they discover there's so much to discover in our state parks, now they're going to be discovering drilling rigs, waste pits, haul roads, compressors, pipelines, so many of the nasty things we're trying to get away from. These will be the new wonders of our state parks as the oil and gas industry plunks down and sets up shop, not just for a week or a month or so while the drilling takes place, but long, long after the drilling is gone, those scars, those haul roads, those compressor stations will remain. So what are we doing about it? With today's announcement of protectohiosparks.org, there will be finally a portal for the public to comment on proposed drilling, for the public to hold accountable both the drillers and the regulators, for the public to be able to engage their policymakers, engage regulators, for the public to be able to be a watchdog and to document and to send video, to send pictures, and to send comments on whether or not the drillers are adhering to the law, of the havoc that they're causing, of the supposed benefits we're to see, and of course, documenting impacts to park visitors. And so it is a very good thing that this coalition is coming together, that a website is coming together. It's very disappointing that the folks that are supposed to be the guardians of our parks, that the Ohio Sierra Club had to force out at the threat of a bayonet of a lawsuit, to force out public information. And finally today we're able to announce what is on the chopping block, which state parks initially, which state forests initially are in for the many splendid wonders of fracking in our state lands. And so that's kind of the take home today as I see it. We're going to need lots of eyes and ears out there because the public is in for a ride, the likes of which they've never seen before. I'd like to now introduce Loraine McCosker of the Sierra Club right down there in Athens County, I believe. Loraine, come on up here, please.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. My name is Loraine McCosker. I co-chair the Forest and Public Lands Committee of the Ohio Sierra Club. Since my tenure as co-chair with Bob Kyle, we have been fighting or advocating against drilling on our public lands in Ohio. And last year, we of course lost the battle. Historically, as Representative Driehaus indicated, Ohio followed the lead of Theodore Roosevelt and created the Ohio Department of Natural Resources in 1912 for oversight of public lands. In 1912, the legislature amended the Ohio Constitution to allow for the creation of a forest reserve system and for appropriations for initial purchases of land. Senate Bill 13 in the 98th General Assembly, effective in 1949, created a division of parks and implemented the Ohio Park park system within the Ohio Department of Natural Resources. The mandate was to create, supervise, operate, protect, and maintain the system of parks and to promote their use by the public. As a result of the foresight of these many individuals and state legislators, the Ohio developed a Forest and Parks Division that has served many generations of Ohioans. With the passage of House Bill 133 and 153, these lands have been opened up to the oil and gas industry, an industry which appears to have taken hold of our state legislature and the Ohio Department of Natural Resources. This is a violation of our public trust. The concept of a public trust relates back to the origins of a democratic government. The idea that the public lies, within the public, the true power lies, and our legislature or governmental representatives are representing our wishes and desires. On October 25th, 2011, several representatives of the Ohio Sierra Club, Ohio Environmental Council, Red Forest Council met with the Ohio Department of Natural Resources Administration, including then Director Scott Zodi. We were assured that the development of the oil and gas lease for fracking on state parks and forests would be a transparent process. It was not until the Ohio Sierra Club and sued ODNR in April of 2012 that citizens were able to obtain the developed lease and the BMTs, or best management practices, that had been developed. We, however, have also obtained emails that indicate what public lands have been identified, as you see here, and we are still receiving materials from ODNR. So just a few points that I've found in the emails. One, David Mustine, then director of ODNR, during the legislative session that passed House Bill 133, was instrumental in developing 133, meeting with David Hall, co-chair of the Agriculture and Natural Resources Committee, and other legislators. Mr. Mustine is now director of Jobs Ohio, strategizing for expansion of shale gas in Ohio. February 2011, before House Bill 133 was passed, ODNR was communicating with neighboring states that drill on public lands. The following disclosures included lease language development along with guidelines on May 2011 before House Bill 133 was passed. BMP's draft 2 was dated September 15, 2011, before our meeting with ODNR, when we were told that we would be apprised of the work around implementation. Finally, and this is just a small list, there was a letter to Mr. Haas, Reserve Energy Exploration, asking for his input on the development of the lease. Environmental groups are Ohio citizens